Hello. Oh, you're still green. That's okay. I can still see you, so that works.
It popped up over here. Interesting. Let me see what happens if I put it over there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what do you mean? Do you have two computers?
Two screens.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I keep seeing you from at
This
an
way I'm sideways.
right. So if you look straight ahead at the other one, there we go. That's the one you're going to have to look at.
Okay, because that's what's right under my camera.
Okay, that's what you have to look at. So that's the camera that probably has the green issue. That right
Well, I only have one camera.
Oh, but yeah, but it's reading from that, whatever you're staring at right now, that computer.
Yeah.
Is that the computer where you're looking on the system?
It is the computer. The only other thing I have is an extra monitor.
Got it. I see how you have it set up. Okay.
Because it's giant and I can actually read things.
I see. Okay. Well, this one's one where when you look it straight, that way you can be talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Up front. Well, we're already recording, so what we'll
do. Okay.
I know people will jump on because it's just 12. And then we'll get started in just a second. Let me check just to make sure. I didn't have a chance to check my other site to see if anybody was gonna give me a heads up. I don't see anything right now. Okay, I posted that. Okay, so people will jump on when they jump on. And then those that want to watch it as a replay will get that too. So why don't we just get started? So what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking with Stacey Powers about being a pet intuitive, an animal communicator. And the truth is she's had this gift since she was young, but now she's decided to really start offering it to clients out there. So we're so happy to have you. I know that those that will watch this replay will get a lot of benefit from the different things you share about how animals communicate and, you know, how you communicate with animals. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. And then when I was tuning into this call, I got the guidance that we're going to be doing a blessing for everyone's pets. They don't have to be ill or anything for us to bless them. And this includes blessings for animals that have crossed over and that have now left the earth plane. So this blessing is going to be for both those that are still alive and those who have crossed. And knowing just like a human, you can also connect on the other side with a pet that's crossed. And Stacey, I don't remember, are you able to do a little bit of mediumship with animals?
Yes, it's actually easier.
Ah, okay, so you're more of a medium then. Great.
I do both, but yeah.
Okay.
The
cool.
mediumship is easy and fun.
Well, we may tune into a pet that just came into my awareness right now that I would like to know what happened to him. So we might just have some fun with that in a little bit and see what comes up. Because yeah, I'm assuming he passed. I gave him to someone when I had my first child because I couldn't have cats with a newborn, and so yeah, and I've always wondered what happened to him and then his other brother. So anyway, well, what I'm going to do right now is we're just going to go into a grounding and we're going to call in the beautiful energy of our pets and those beautiful animals that were part of our lives, maybe when we were young. Maybe we've had pets our whole life. Maybe we had very special pets that have now passed. And we probably have special animals in our life now. So we're just going to connect our hearts to our beautiful animals that are our fur babies. We're going to just allow our hearts to open to connect with them, inviting their beautiful energies here to be part of this call. So even if you do listen to this as a replay, just know that that energy is being called in. And if you are quiet and still enough, you'll probably be able to feel, sense, or even possibly see in your mind's eye a vision of your pet or pets that want to communicate with you. So we're just allowing that energy to be here. And we're going to let ourselves open our hearts. You can imagine a beautiful rose in your heart, blooming open, to be open to receive the loving communications from your sweet animals. Animals are considered very unconditional in their ability to love us. They don't judge us. They don't judge our personalities. They may have things they like and don't like about us, yes, just like we have things we like and don't like about our pets and some of their behaviors. But in general, they are very unconditional. They're not, they don't know what judgment means. So we want to be in a place where we just open our unconditional love to our beautiful animals and invite their communication. So we're just going to open up some energy here, asking that this beautiful grounding energy of nature assist us. Our animals are actually already naturally grounded. They don't have to practice grounding like we do as humans because they don't get stuck in their minds. They're in their bodies all day long. And usually they're close to the ground, so they are very much connected to earth. So our animals are actually very grounded beings, and they can help ground us. So actually, if you place an animal in your lap or you're carrying an animal, it's actually a grounding tool. It will ground you. So you feel more grounded in your body when you're carrying or holding or petting an animal because it's an already grounded energy. So anytime you feel really flighty or out of your head or out of your body, you know, grab an animal and carry it or hold it or put it in your lap or sit next to it and pet it, and you will actually begin to feel a calmness because you're being grounded. It's grounding your energy. Your pet is. So they're very good for that. That's why they're good for people's health. It's because they help to ground you in your body and they help to clear out energy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment as to what the whole larger spiritual purpose is to why we have domestic animals. So allowing yourself to just be here now, opening your heart to connect with your loving pets, both deceased and present, and feeling your own body grounding into the earth. So feeling those roots from the bottom of your feet growing into the earth just to help yourself be here now. You can even imagine yourself sitting under a tree or standing in the sand on the beach or in the water. All of those images actually help us ground. So feeling yourself really grounded into the earth, and then feeling Mother Earth send you beautiful energy up into your heart, blooming open your heart into the space you're in, and then letting that beautiful divine energy flow straight up out the top of your head to connect to that divine light above, so that we're fully connected as a human to the earth and as a spiritual being to the divine. And we're going to bring the energy from the earth and the energy from the divine, we're going to bring it down so that it meets in our heart, so that we honor that we are both in human physical form. We have an animal egoic side to us, and we have our divine spiritual side, which is our more true side. And so we want to bring that into the heart together. And our animals as well have beautiful energy of heart and spirit and soul. So we want to always treat our animals like really sweet little divine beings because that's what they are. So now we're going to allow this beautiful energy of all these beautiful, I already feel them, lots of pets around. So those of you that may tune in later, just know that your pets already know this and they're already here, either alive or have passed. So I'm going to also call in some beautiful angelic energy. So they say, and we'll ask Stacey if this is true or if she knows this, they say that every animal has also its own little guardian angel or higher light being that's part of its life. And so I'm just going to call in all of the beautiful guardian angels for us as humans and for our beautiful pets, so that their beautiful energy is here, this higher vibrational energy of spirit, so that if for some reason you can't directly connect with your animal, you can also connect with that animal's angel and see what its angel is whispering in your ear. So there's a lot of different ways to connect with animals, and Stacey will share her way that she connects best with animals in just a moment. And we're just going to ask that throughout this call, any of the beautiful energies of these beautiful pets that are here today. If they're needing any healing energy, if they are needing any kind of healing of any sort, whether it is physical or emotional or psychological, we're just going to be sending this beautiful beam of love out to all of your loving, sweet fur babies and pets, sending them lots of healing light, asking that the divine and these beautiful angels that are here touch your beautiful pets with love and light, so that whatever's ready to heal with them, whatever's ready to release around something maybe that they're holding emotionally or psychologically that really isn't serving them anymore, we're asking that the divine touch these sweet souls and release them from any particular burdens they're carrying right now. And they may be carrying those for you. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So we're just going to ask for a blessing throughout the whole call for every animal that's here in spirit, any animal that you call in when you watch this video. We're just allowing beautiful energy to be here. And know that animal energy is very healing. This is why within the Native American traditions, they have animal totems, animal medicine. Every animal is a medicine. So when you know how to tune into the energy of your animal, whether it's a cat, a dog, a horse, a bird, a fish, any conscious living being, just know that there are healing medicine energies, frequencies associated with each of those animals. So all of nature, including animals, are healing for us as humans. So I'm going to now open this up so that Stacey can share a little bit. Hey, Sarah, share a little bit with us about who she is, when she started connecting with animals, just a little bit about, what her background has been and what she wants to share with you today about her learning around intuition with animals. And to let you know that Stacey last year was part of the mentorship program for this academy. And so this year she's launching some of the gifts that opened up for her to the next level so she can offer this service to people out there who have animals and pets and are needing some more clear communication with their animal, or they're just needing some clarity about something that's going on with their animal. So Stacey will be tuning in and seeing what's here. So Stacey, what would you like to share with everybody?
Well, I have a number of the clairs as gifts. My strongest is hearing and just simply knowing, and my least is seeing. And so that's part of what was kind of became a block for me, because long time ago somebody told me animals talk with pictures. And so I allowed that to be a limiting belief. But well, I don't see, so I can't talk to the animals. And I had about 60 horses and a dozen dogs and half a dozen cats, and I was talking to the animals all the time. And so I also am empathic, and that comes through much stronger when I'm with the animals, because and that's where the gift has always been to see things from the animal's perspective. And when I taught about horses and horsemanship and horse care, it was taught from the horse's perspective. Yeah. And so being able to see things from their perspective is truly a gift, because it helps me to be able to translate that for their person to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly. So I have a question. I know that one time you shared with me you were working with a friend's horse and they didn't know what was wrong with it, and it shared with you, what was wrong, and that really helped the owner of that horse to be able to get the right help for it. I think it was recent. Was it the neighbor or the friend that that you go and help the grandkid?
Oh, well, they have two stallions, and the stallions like to go to the show, but the boys don't get along. They're always competing for the ladies. And so we had a conversation I had conversations with each of them separately. And because we're getting ready to go to a show in about a week and a half, and it's like, you boys have to behave. You have the bears want you to behave well.
Yeah.
So be nice, and you can both go. Yeah, I can physically see and also kind of tune in where there. I was at a show about a month ago, and something was off about this horse, and I said, "You want to see what I see?" You know, and it's like, okay, here, and I just pointed out some spots on their body. It's like these are things that are hurting. So, fortunately, the owner was very responsive and pulled the horse for the rest of the show because she didn't want to hurt her horse.
Yeah.
So that's where my gifts can really give assistance to owners and handlers. You know, it's like, no, they're done. It's time to be done.
Yes. So with you, as you said that somebody told you animals only communicate in pictures, and I've heard that too, but in truth, animals will communicate with you in different ways. So not just in pictures, but also for you, you can actually kind of hear their language, so to speak, right? So can you hear about that?
Yeah. One of I've been to a number of classes. Some are live classes and some are online classes. And my education is ongoing and the practice is ongoing, so I can learn and develop my skills like anybody, you know, having a new visitor. And one of my instructors had the concept was that the magic translator box, and the animals could send their information into this translator box and in their way, and then we could receive it in our way. So if an animal sends a picture, I hear what the animals sending. And so that busted things open for me. It's like a whole new world, and I could really communicate well.
Wonderful. So basically, because you really couldn't see in pictures with the animals so much, you just had this little translator box, so to speak, in the mind where their communication would go through, and then all of a sudden you could hear them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
the first time I had, it was on my ranch probably 30 years ago or more. The first time a horse ever talked to me.
Yeah.
There were some people on either side of the road, and I was taking the horse to the trailer to load it up, and he just stopped. And then he started asking me questions, and it's like I'm having this really weird experience, and everybody around me has no clue what's going on. And the horse stopped and said, "Where am I going?" And I just answered him with words. I said, "You're going with this man to a lovely new home, and he's going to give you lots of time and lots of attention, and you're going to be a special horse." "Okay," the horse says. And then he says, "What about this trailer?" Because it was kind of, you know, rust bucket looking.
Yeah.
And so I handed the leader up to somebody. I got in the trailer and I stomped on the floor and I got really big. And I said, "It's big enough for you. It is really, I promise. And it's got a good floor." And I'm stomping on the floor. I said, "You can get in the trailer. It's okay." "All right." And he asked me a couple other questions that I don't remember. But when he was done, there was 4 questions.
Yeah.
And just like you and I talking.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Okay." And he jumped in. You know, and no worries. I mean, it was fully an incredible experience.
Yes, absolutely. Well, not only do our animals, our domestic animals communicate with us, cats, dogs, birds, even fish, lizards, all, you know, any sentient being can communicate with us. And some people are more expert in communicating with certain kind of animals than others. Is that right, Stacey? Based on your
Yeah. So far, horses, dogs, cats, and in one class I talked to a bird. And we were supposed to ask the bird, well, each animal, we practiced with a dozen different animals, but each animal had this list of questions, and one of them was, "Who are your animal friends?" So I'm going through the questions with this bird, and he goes, "Not the cat, not the cat." It just cracked me up. And it was all quiet because everybody's talking to the animals, right? And the instructor, as soon as quiet time was over, the instructor said, "What was so funny?" And it's still funny today, you know. The bird is not friends with the cat.
That's hilarious.
And then coming home from that same trip, that class was outside of Reno. And coming home, I noticed this dog on a leash walking through the airport. And then later I'm on the airplane and, everybody's getting on.
Yeah.
And the dog wound up in his carrier. He was like literally at face level.
Yes.
And I said, how do you like flying? Not so much, he says.
That's too cute. So tell me a little bit more about what you have learned concerning how pets, our domestic pets, the ones that kind of live with us, like what are some of the roles that they play in our lives? I mean, yes, as a companion, those typical things, but kind of more from a spiritual perspective. What do you feel the role has been, at least maybe for pets in your own life?
Well, first and foremost, it's unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what animals are. They are unconditional love.
Yes.
And that is the role in our lives.
Yes.
And there are times that they just really make such a huge difference. And you'll hear about, people, sometimes it's older people, sometimes it's not, but that they're just very attached to their animal. Well, some of that is because they're isolated and they don't have very much human contact.
Right.
So, we all need whatever, half a dozen hugs a day. Well, if you live by yourself, you get those hugs from your dog or your cat.
Yes.
And so the companionship is important. And Linda, you're the first one to give me a kick in the butt. It's like, you need some horse medicine. Get with the horses.
Yes.
And I just, there's this, I may not get it exactly right, but there's a saying, it's like the best thing for the inside of a human is the outside of a horse.
Yes.
So let's go hug a horse.
Yes.
Because they're highly, highly intelligent. They're very, very intuitive. And they have that unconditional love, and go hug a horse and life's good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like the message that came through earlier was that every animal has its own unique medicine that can help us. So it makes sense why we may be drawn more to cats or more to dogs or more to horses or maybe to all of them or just all animals. I've known people that have owned 15 different kinds of animals or more in their home because they just, that's the type of medicine they need around them, whether they're aware of it or not. And talk a little bit about, because I've seen this in my own life with my pet who passed, Sparkle, that animals, I didn't know this until just a couple of years ago, the animals will take on diseases, not just physical illnesses of their owners, but they'll even take on mental disorders of their owners as out of love.
Yes.
So what do you have to say about that?
I've experienced that in my life. And it just, sometimes we're more tuned into animals and it's like something's not right with Fluffy, So what's wrong with Fluffy? And you take Fluffy to the vet and they have a urinary tract infection. Okay. Right. Well, guess what? You got one 2 days later.
Yes.
And the dog or the cat took that on so that you didn't have to.
Yes.
And you got it anyway because it was going to be really bad, but it's not as bad because the animal took it on for you.
Right, exactly.
And they'll take on lighter weight things, like a cold or a UTI or something, and they'll take on really heavy stuff.
Right.
And I've experienced that more than a few times.
Yeah, like I know cancers are a big one that take on cancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to say before it's a little bit not exactly on that topic, but it's really important. We're here and we cross over and somebody that isn't can talk to us on the other side.
Right.
And so do the animals.
Mm-hmm.
The animals are here, and when they cross over, we can talk to them on the other side.
Exactly.
And I've done that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually think that that's probably going to be one of my strong suits.
Yes.
And, in addition to the live animals.
Yes, exactly.
And then to take it one more step, they will come back to us. And I've had that happen too. My first Australian Terrier was Gabby. Okay. And she passed at, whatever, 14 years old-ish.
Yeah.
And then she came back to me, and it's like, how am I going to find, I was told she was coming back to me. And it's like, how do I find one puppy in the whole world of puppies? Well, I found her, and she came to live with me for a while. And then she was done, and we were done. Our karma was done, and so she went on to she went to go be with somebody else and see them through the last year of their life.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was, I really had to think long and hard about letting her go because she was with me for the second time.
Yeah.
And I was reviewing some of my notes from some of the work I'd done last night, and my prior work, I reviewed the notes last night, and in there, I had talked to our little ranch dog, Desi, and she just was the love of everybody's life. I mean, she was just a little mutt dog, and she'd go on the trail rides, and she just was always with everybody everywhere, but it was with the horses in the barn.
Yeah.
And she had something unfortunate happen, and she forgave me for that. And but it said in my notes very clearly that she's going to come back to my son because she was my son's dog.
Oh, wow.
And when my son is ready to have a dog,
yeah.
which in his mind is once he owns his home, he's going to get his own dog, and then she'll be the one that comes back to him.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's interesting because just in the past, I think a year or two, maybe last year, there was a movie that came out, and I don't know the name of it because I didn't see it, but it actually, the whole concept was of that movie was about the dogs that would come back again, in a different dog, to their owners, and somehow their owner would recognize that. So if that's happened to you and you're thinking, I don't know about that, well, it's possible that is the consciousness of the animal you had before, years before, that's now come back in a different dog body.
Well, I rarely go to movies, but I had to go see that movie last year. And I think that was called A Dog's Life, and now they're promoting a new one called A Dog's Journey, and I think it's a sequel. And it features the same dog coming back to like the children and the grandchildren. I'm just guessing from the trailer, but
A Dog's Life, that's it.
I've got to go see that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, because it talks about this concept. And here's another interesting thing that I didn't know. You shared with me, and also there was another animal intuitive I was looking at online who also shared this to be true, and I was like, oh, how interesting. Like my cat, who Aster, was originally, it was a rescue cat that we rescued about 2 years ago. And in the paperwork, it says that the cat was female. But so we name her Astrid. And so we bring her home, and I'm like, this is not a female cat. What is going on here? Because the cat acted so masculine and so male, because I've had male cats, and I know how they act. And so anyway, I was like, I think they got it wrong. I think this is a male cat. But, the cat had been fixed since it was a kitten, and even they at the rescue couldn't quite tell if it was a male or a female. So anyway, even though on the paperwork it said female. So anyway, I kind of tuned in a little bit, and I thought, this cat, I think we're just going to assume it's male because it's acting male, so we're going to change its name to Aster, which is more of a, could be male or female. And then I find out from you and this other pet intuitive online that animals can be transgender. They can be in a particular body, in this case, a female body, but prefer a particular gender. And so my cat is in a female body, but prefers the male pronoun he and being addressed as a male cat, which just blew me away because I was like, wow, that happens. So yes, I have a transgender cat.
Well, Aster not only is presents as male. He presents as the king of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
This
Very
is
alpha. Yes.
I'm the king, and this is my castle, and you
Yes.
might get to come in.
Yes. And so, yeah, Astor and I've had our moments.
But he hasn't been here since I had that conversation with him, right?
No, he did a little light bite on me the other day on my back because he was upset that I was paying attention. I had a friend here and we were having a conversation and he wasn't being paid attention to, so he came up behind me and just kind of did a little, not his major bite, but just a little like, pay attention to me. I'm here, you know? So yeah, so
you just have to remind him because otherwise I'll come give him a serious lesson.
yeah. Yes, and so he's very alpha, and you know, my own daughter, who also I feel is an animal communicator to some extent, she's like, because I said, why? Because in the beginning he was biting me pretty viciously, and I knew he probably had some unfortunate situation go on with him as a kitten. That's why he was in this rescue. So I was trying to be very patient, but wow, the bites were intense. And so my daughter, I asked her, I said, what's going on here? Tell me what you're getting now. And so she says, Mom, are you afraid of the cat? And I said, well, you know, honestly, kind of. When I'm on the floor and the cat comes near me after these really vicious bites, I actually can sense a bit of a fear coming up. Well, you don't do that with an alpha cat because they're going to respond to that. And so I had to really shift and heal some things about my fear of the cat biting me again. And so since I shifted that and I'm in my own alpha energy when the cat's around, then the cat will respect me and not you know give me a bite that says I'm the king. Instead, it realizes we're going to live here together, so we're going to have to get along.
Yeah.
We can both be queen and king, okay? So that was really interesting. So is there anything else about the whole transgender thing or that you've come across ever with your work with animals?
My very first horse was never able to have babies, and it was because she was born like a gelding.
Oh, wow.
And I actually wound up buying her for gelding price back in the day when breeding animals were, 2 or 3 times more than a gelding.
Yeah.
And she never, to the day she died, ever had a baby, but we would give the weanlings to her. And if you asked her, she said, "Oh, I'm so exhausted from all these babies." She never had babies, but we gave her the weanlings. And they're 3, 4, 5 months old. They're rowdy as all get out.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder she was exhausted because she got them when they were rowdy.
So she's still mothered, even though she didn't birth. Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah. And she would just kind of, but she also mannered them. When they think that they were going in for a drink, she'd tell them, no way, not me.
Oh, wow.
So she taught them the manners.
Yeah.
And had to be very respectful of her. And so that's why we gave the babies to her. When they left their mother, they went to her.
Yes.
Because she would manner them and we didn't have to.
That's amazing. I didn't really know that could happen. Wow.
But see, if you're not really tuned in like it was then, still am. Most people wouldn't know to do that. They would just take the babies away and put the babies in a pen by themselves. It's like, no, you give them to the grandma or an older gelding or an older mare, and they teach them how to be a horse and how to be respectful.
Wow.
And it's like, I'm senior, so I'm dominant, and you're the kid.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so much like us as humans in so many ways. Wow, that's really fascinating.
And it's how it is in nature.
Yes. It's true.
Because in the herd, there's a pecking order in each group, whether it's horses, dogs, cats, chickens.
Yes.
The term comes from chickens, in case people don't know that. But pecking order does come from.
Yes. And I've heard sometimes from clients, and I've experienced this too. They'll say, my dog thinks it's a human, or my cat thinks it's a human, or my, whatever pet thinks it's a human. I had that situation with my cat Sparkle, who died a couple of years ago, is that when we got her, she was a teeny tiny kitty, and it was my daughter's 3rd birthday gift. She'd been wanting a kitty cat. So we gave her this little kitty cat for her 3rd birthday. And interestingly, you know, since it was a kitten, I kind of became like the cat mom and fed it and all of this. And then, Asha, my daughter, was the playmate. So this cat grew up thinking she was Asha's sister. So she played the role of sister. So, whenever my ex and I divorced, my daughter would spend a week with him and then a week with me. So back and forth. So anytime my daughter would show up, it's so funny because the way they interacted was like sisters. I mean, Sparkle thought that Asha was her sister, and I guess in a way, I guess she was. And she would play with Asha that way. But with me, it's like, no, I'm mom. And it was a whole different interaction. And so I realized after she passed that she was kind of like, the daughter that stayed around that I didn't have to give to the ex. Like I had to give my human daughter to the ex to spend time with, but Sparkle got to stay with me all the time. So it was almost as if, she was kind of like the cat daughter that kind of took the place of those moments when I had to give my daughter over to the ex. And, for a mother, with a young one, my daughter was little. She was 3, 4. I mean, that's hard for a mother to give away the little one for a week or so to go be with the father. And so I feel like that Sparkle stood in as a coping mechanism to assist me with that transition back and forth. But it was so funny because the way she played with Asha, my daughter, was like they were sisters. And so then I got a hit. Yeah, I'm the sister. And she assumed she was the older sister. So, she took on, I am the older sister. And Asha's the little sister. So she kind of even decided her order, in the family, is that she was the older sister and Asha was the younger sister. And I thought that was really interesting how the energy of that played out. And then, when she started getting ill, she was an indoor cat only. So when she started getting ill, I took her to a couple of vets. They couldn't diagnose anything. And so when I tuned in and I had other practitioners tune in, there was really no diagnosis other than she was just carrying lots of kind of negative energy for both myself and my daughter that had we carried it, it would have made us ill. So instead, she carried it, and then eventually she passed because I heard she took it with her. She, as a way to keep us from getting more ill or having some kind of disease, she, out of love, decided to take all that with her when she passed. And I was like, wow, the acts of love that our pets
and the service.
Yeah, the acts of love and service to us so that we can keep going on our earth path without, incredible illness or whatever, because they're willing to do that for us out of love. That blew me away when I realized what was going on. That many times the illnesses that our animals have are really aspects of ours or one of our family members, or maybe several where they're carrying stuff for, the father, the children, the mother, who knows. And so they do that out of love. And then, of course, we want to save them, treat them, take them to the doctor, try to figure out what's wrong with them, when really it's their choice. They're consciously choosing, I love you and I'm going to help you here because you have a mission to accomplish, and this is my mission. So whenever I tuned into my cat Sparkle when she was getting ill, and I said, what's going on, sweetheart? What, why don't you let this stuff go? Why are you carrying all this for us? And she said, this is my purpose. This is like her sole purpose for being in the family, was to carry these things for us and then take them away. So she said that if I intervened and took this away, both myself or my daughter or both of us would get ill, and we would take away her purpose. And this is her. And every sentient being has a purpose, and our pets have a purpose for being with us or with someone else or whoever. Even if they go from owner to owner, sometimes that's how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to work with several different people in their lifetimes. And so it's not for us as humans to get in the way of their actual sole purpose for being here. And sometimes it does mean that they get ill and that they will pass no matter what interventions you try with them, because that's part of their purpose. And whenever I heard that from her, I was like, whoa. So I didn't want to intervene in her purpose. I didn't want to get sick, and I definitely didn't want my daughter to get sick. So, I honored her for being so loving to do that for us. That was just like so moving for me. I had no idea until I had that experience with her. And she said, no, this is my purpose. Don't take it away from me. I mean, it made her life have meaning to do this. So have you had experiences like that, or have you had clients who've had experiences like that?
Yes. My brain, as you were talking about, is like, that's their purpose. Some people, the simple answer is yes, I've had experiences like that where my animals have taken on stuff for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've had very clear healing for myself because of animals.
Yes.
Like when I was in the hospital for 4 months, and then they brought the miniature horses in. I just hugged that horse like forever, and I lost it. I literally lost it. I had these just sobbing from the deepest part of my soul, just bawling and bawling and bawling and bawling and bawling. And it was a multitude of things, and clearly it was a release that needed to happen.
Yeah.
It was facilitated by this little miniature horse.
Aw. Yeah.
And
they're so cute. Oh my God, I love miniature horses. Oh.
yeah, they brought about a dozen of them into the nursing home, and I made it a point to pet all of them.
But yeah, that was part of your healing process. Is that
yeah.
Animals? They don't just take on. The other thing that I understand also, and you can tell me if this is true too. I'm getting that these little miniature horses also transmute energy. So they don't all, get sick from, just being with their owners. Sometimes they're just transmuters. They transmute the energy out. So it helped you have a huge emotional release. And we know that when we have emotional releases, we heal.
Yes.
It was almost like the animal was a catalyst for you to release the
Exactly.
emotions that were creating the illness so that you could begin the healing process. So they seem to me almost like a little alchemist, they can transmute energy because they're already these beautiful, unconditional, loving beings. And just being in the energy of that unconditional love is healing.
Yeah.
So they don't always take on, illness.
No, but just being around them is very healing for horses. I mean, there's a reason for humans, especially with the horses. I mean, there's a reason for all these therapeutic riding centers, and they're not all physical therapy. Some of them are emotional therapy. Some of them are for PTSD.
Yes.
There's a multitude of therapies that people use horses for.
Yes.
Specifically because of that catalyst.
Exactly. Well, I know that right outside of Austin, there is, I don't know if it's called a camp, but to work with children on the spectrum of autism. That they have found that certain children with that particular diagnosis tend to improve and get better. And so their autistic symptoms aren't as extreme when they're around the horse, or they'll notice that a change happens from spending time with horses. So there's actually been research done on how horses have helped children on the spectrum. So
absolutely, and Bastrop that works with veterans, military veterans that have PTSD, and that's their primary focus. So
yeah, horse medicine is very powerful, and Native Americans have known this for centuries. How powerful horse medicine is, how powerful buffalo medicine is. A lot of the typical animals that Native Americans were not worshipped but honored have powerful medicine for healing. So I find it just really fascinating when we talk about animals and animal medicine, because every single type of animal, doesn't matter how exotic or how odd or weird it is, they all have a very specific frequency of medicine that can help someone.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a mistake the kind of animals we end up with, is because that's the medicine we need in the moment.
when you were talking about having a variety, back in my horse ranch days,
Yeah.
dogs, cats, horses, llamas, doves, parakeets, and whatever else wandered through the place.
Wow.
You know? Oh, a bunny! When we bought it, it came with a bunny rabbit and 3 cats. So, yeah, it kind of was like Noah's Ark back then.
Yes. Exactly.
And there's something that I just keep getting led to bring up. We were talking about Sparkle's purpose.
Yes.
And I don't want to get into a controversial conversation because I don't do that.
Yeah.
But the whole vegetarian, not vegetarian thing.
Yeah.
Some of the animals that come here, their purpose is to provide protein for us.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
their firm belief right now.
You know, you're not the first to say that. I've actually heard that before. I've heard that actually from several different animal communicators and people that are not considered animal communicators, that yes, that every animal on the planet, no matter what it is, has a specific purpose. And yes, for instance, you know, certain type of cattle, etc., they know that their purpose here is to feed us until we get to a place of higher consciousness, and we and our, you know, our bodies evolve and change, that we don't need as much protein.
Right.
That eventually they know that's gonna change, and it is changing. There's a lot of people that refuse to eat meat now, and that was not the truth 200 years ago.
Right.
As we evolve as humans, we begin to come into awarenesses. Oh, okay, so they were here for food, and now that we're evolving more in our understanding and awareness, and our bodies are changing and we're evolving, we're beginning to realize, wow, plant-based diets are actually quite healthy for you, and we still need some protein, but maybe not as much as we thought. And so yes, I have definitely heard that animals that we tend to eat for food know that. And also that, you know, with Native Americans, so let's go back to Native Americans and how they treated the animals that they hunted. They prayed, they thanked them, they did honorable deaths with the animals and the way that they were killed. You know, we need to go back to those types of sacred.
And more importantly, they used every single part.
Yes.
Every single part of these.
Yes, they didn't waste anything. And so we need to go back to really honoring the sacredness of, you know, the animals that we do still eat for protein, etc. We need to honor how they're taken care of and how they are then, you know, I don't want to use the word slaughtered, but because that's what we need to not do. We need to have honorable deaths for them and bring them into places of calm and thanks, and thank you so much for what you are offering and giving, instead of what they do now, which is very inhumane, completely inhumane.
Well, and one thing for, you know, people to understand, I just was helping one of my clients that sold her house, and she had 2 little dogs, both cute as can be. One of them she placed with her mother, and the other one's going to go with her. But the one that was left behind, it's like, what's going on? There's no furniture. The people are starting to go. My friend is gone. What on earth is going on? And so I just kept talking to him, and I educated her, and I told her, just talk to your dog. Yes. Tell him, you're going to stay with me. We're going to have a new house in San Antonio, and you're going to get to see your friend. And, you know, just talk to him and explain to him, because they're very confused. Sometimes they're hurt. Cats are notorious for disappearing when a move is pending. Oh. I mean, they're notorious for it. You got to lock them up a week ahead of time, kind of a thing.
Right, exactly.
And so if you just talk to your animals, and plain words, come from your heart, and tell them what's going on.
Yes.
You know,
just in human form, just because I, my cat, you know, I always, like, if I'm going to be going on a trip, I will let
a little
look, I'm going to be leaving in 2 days. and so is going to be coming to visit you. Make sure you're okay, and I'll be gone for this long, but then I'll be back. And I
Yeah.
always do that with Sparkle because she would get very anxious when she was left alone, especially for a couple of days. She did not
Yeah.
like that at all. And so I would have to let her know I'm coming back, all of that, just like you would with a child. I mean, it's like
Yes.
you let them know I'm coming back, and you prepare them. You don't just not let them know. And so, people don't realize you can, like you said, just talk directly to
Yeah.
your animal will get it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're coming from the heart. They feel your heart
Yes.
speaking.
And so it's just really important to again see things from their perspective. And they're wondering what's going on. Well, then by having those conversations with them, I mean, my dogs know. They see the suitcase. It's like, okay, she's out of here.
Yeah. Like they already know. It's already conditioned.
Yeah. And they know. And they know they're going to be fine.
Yes.
And it's a real blessing that they're able to stay in their home.
Right.
When we go, I've got somebody that can come to my home.
Exactly.
And so that's a huge blessing versus having to go to board them in a vet or a kennel or something.
Exactly.
There's many wonderful businesses like that, provide a wonderful environment, but it's still not as comfortable as home.
Exactly.
So.
Yes. Well, I just had this thought. I just lost it. Okay, it'll come back. It had to do with, the animals, their emotions. I noticed, and I've seen this with some of my clients, who they'll sometimes every once in a while in a session, a client will be like, I'm really worried about, my pet. And I'll tune in just to get a sense, even though I'm not like, that's not my expert area. I'll tune in just to kind of sense what may be going on. And I sometimes notice that the pets will take on emotional or psychological problems
Yes.
of their owner. And then they'll act that out in their behavior. And then the owner's going nuts because here's the animal, the pet, being a mirror to them of their own kind of psychological, emotional issues or challenges. Have you noticed that with animals?
Yeah, like my animal's driving me crazy. Well, you're driving yourself crazy.
Yeah. The animal's going to reflect that energy to you as an awareness. Yeah, I've noticed that. It's like,
Well, and I've always said this, you don't have to be a veterinarian. You don't have to know what is wrong with your animal. Mm-hmm. You just need to know that something's wrong or that something's different. Yeah. And that it's just something that's different, try to figure out what it is that's different, And but if there's something that's not right, by all means go to the vet, But just I have, because of the vast volume of animals I've had in my life, my entire life, I know a lot about animal care, animal behavior, and so forth. But I always tell people, especially if they're new, it's like you just have to know what normal is, and then if it's not normal, figure out what it is.
Exactly.
If it's not normal, then start looking into it.
Right. Yeah, because I
just pay attention and be aware.
Right, because I've known some close friends and people of mine with pets, and I know their pet, and it's so funny because I'll see certain behaviors with their pet that drive the owner crazy, and I'm looking at this and I'm like snickering, going, "Oh my God, this is the owner's stuff." This cat is just, or a dog or whatever it is reflecting back to the owner, and then the owner is getting frustrated and about it. But it's just a reflection of something in the person, the owner of the pet, that they need to look at. So if you have, a behavioral issue with your animal, look at yourself first.
Yeah.
What this animal is reflecting back to you that you need to pay attention to. Because you may be going, well, I don't go around chewing on people's shoes. It's like, no, but that behavior is a sign of some type of possible anxiety, something like that. So where in your life are you not taking care of yourself? Are you not addressing the anxiety? Are you reacting to life with anxiety? That then it ends up showing up in your pet. Or you're reacting to life with depression, and then you have a depressed animal. or you're very erratic, and chaotic and never grounded in your behavior. So then you've got, a cat like that runs around doing crazy stuff because that's exactly what you do. It's your energy and they're getting imprinted with it. So I usually find it really interesting how telling some of the psychological, emotional issues are of an animal, and how in many ways it's reflecting something in the owner that maybe they're just not conscious of.
Well, if we're honest, I mean, we can drive ourselves nuts. I mean, if you're aware enough to realize I'm making myself crazy over this, whatever it is, then the animal is, the animal's just making you crazy over it. It's like, well, hello, first that's what it is.
Exactly. Because one thing that I had to look at with this rescue cat, Aster, who was attacking me, part of it had to do with some kind of trauma that this cat had early on. I feel that it spent a lot of time with dogs, so in some ways it acts like a dog too, even though it's a cat. But I was thinking, why is it so aggressive? What is this? I mean, wow, it was like beyond. Um, and so I thought, let me look at, is it something around some unconscious anger in me, or something that I'm not owning? And so the cat's like reflecting it back to me. So I had to kind of look inside myself to say, where am I triggering this need for this cat to be so vicious? And so, and so I did some work on softening myself and, looking at where there might be some kind of hidden anger issues or resentment issues in me that I wasn't even aware of, that maybe the cat was picking up on and then reflecting back to me. And, I was doing a lot of that along with some other things that I was doing to intervene to help this cat calm down. And all of that together, I think, has really helped so that, the cat is not, hasn't attacked me viciously in months now. But also I have to stay aware. It's like this cat makes me stay present. Like when the cat's
Oh, yeah.
and I'm on the floor and I'm sitting there maybe doing my meditations or something, the cat makes me get very present, because if I'm not, that's usually when the bites happen, is that I'm not present in my body. And then, before I know it, the cat's just attacked me.
Well,
So
he's definitely changing, because the last 2 times I've been at your place, he's come to me.
yes, exactly.
And he knows that I will open the door for him, and so he comes to me and asks to be let out or in,
Yeah,
or he'll be outside and wanting in, and like last time I said, no, you've got to wait a few minutes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's actually becoming a little bit more friendly and coming down to visit sometimes when I have gatherings, not always, but he might, as he hears people leaving, he's like, okay, there's less people now, I can come down. And so he can say hello and make his presence known. So,
So sometimes that, think like, I mean, just to draw a parallel, okay? If a child experiences abuse from a parent, like physical abuse, then that child's going to go to school and bully and beat up on somebody else.
exactly.
Well, it can be the same with the animal.
Yeah.
If the animal's been beat up on mentally, emotionally, physically by something else, then they feel like they've got to be the big bad guy
Yes,
against somebody else. And it's actually a defense mechanism.
exactly.
And so when he originally came with that, it could have been a defense mechanism. I'm going to bite you before you bite me.
Exactly.
I'm going to show you I'm the boss before you try to be.
Exactly. That's why it feels like he may have had to defend it. He may have been a little kitten and had to defend himself with big dogs or something. So I just about that makes, because literally he'll just come and cuddle, and if I make a move, he just, in the past he used to do bite, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just moved my leg.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think it was like a patterned reflex. Like, yeah, I'm going to bite you before you bite me. Um, and that seems to be what it was, because I'm thinking I didn't feel, other than some alpha stuff that we needed to work out, I didn't feel that it was like he was personally trying to harm me. He was really trying to defend himself from the possibility of me biting him, which of course I would never be able to do, but it was just a reflex. It just seemed like that.
Yeah. So the flip side of that is Ariel, my puppy. She'll be 2 in June. She's been with me a year last October, so a year and a half. And to this day, that dog still wants to go potty in the house. And if given the opportunity, she would pee in her crate. And you can line up 1,000 or 10,000 dogs, and they will never go potty in their own crate if by choice.
Right.
What I've learned about Ariel is that her biological mother, dog mother, beat the crap out of her, and it may have been because she had an umbilical hernia. And in nature, animals, they're not perfect. They kick them out of the nest so that they die young, right? That may have been part of it, or that may have been what started it, but that got repaired. But then she, you know, she would go out in the yard to go potty, and all the others, I just picture a scene like you see on a prison movie where she goes out in the prison yard and the whole gets jumped.
Gang up on her. Yeah.
I see that picture when she, in her mind, for her to go outside and go potty. And the 2 other dogs I have don't bother her at all.
Right.
You know, but it's such trauma from when she was a little puppy. But she's still, 2 years later, is still carrying that.
Right.
And so
for her to go in her crate than to go out into the yard and possibly get jumped.
Because it's safe in the crate. When it's safe, I mean, her favorite spot, it sounds gross, but she wants to go into my kitchen, by my kitchen sink. And it's like, really? You really got to go in my kitchen? You know? But it's physically, it's away from the rest of the house, and she can hide. She knows shouldn't be doing it.
Right, exactly.
And hide and feel safe there. And so we're still working through it. I mean, it's been a very long process.
Right. And you do like Reiki healing, and you've done Reiki on animals, and you send Reiki energy. So just like we can do energy healing on humans, we can also do it on animals, and they tend to respond pretty quickly, usually, not always, but to energy work. So have you done Reiki kind of things on horses and other animals, and both present and distance?
Yes. Dogs and cats commonly are not real fond of hands-on, and that's my first go-to is I want hands-on, and it's really too strong for them. So I back off 4 to 6 inches and work on the etheric body.
Yes.
And they seem to be able to tolerate that better. And
that makes sense.
You want to work with them when they're in that kind of, I just assume, sleeping kind of mode rather than playtime or other times.
Yeah.
And yes, I have worked on horses. The other healing modality I use is I have a photonic, it's a far infrared light, and it works for people and animals. And you can get all scientific and use it on the acupuncture points and so forth, but I use it much more intuitively. And I just like, oh, this hurts. So I put it where it hurts, you know. And I've used it a couple of times at different horse events to work on horses. And then the horse trainer, it's like, oh, my neck's killing me. Here, put this on your neck, you know. And then 5 minutes later, she goes, what is that? It's a miracle. My neck doesn't hurt anymore. Yeah. It's like, well, it's the infrared.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
so
there's lots of research about infrared and how it's.
There's near infrared and far infrared, and both can be really healing.
Yes, exactly.
In animals, and so I tend to learn about a lot of things and pull the best from all of them, and then kind of create my own thing. And so, you know, I learned about chiropractic for horses, and I can tell when a horse needs a chiropractor. I'm not the chiropractor, but I can see the horses out here, here, and here.
Yes.
You need to get the chiropractor.
Exactly.
And there's different stretching exercises that help make it better and so forth. Those 2 stallions I talked to, it's like, we want to do carrot stretches. Well, of course, the incentive is the carrot, but if it's stretching and getting the body more limber, that's a good thing, you know?
Exactly. Just like with a little child, the rewards work.
Absolutely. In this case, carrot, no stick.
Yes, exactly. So we're coming up on, we have about maybe 10 more minutes, and I wanted us to kind of go into the mediumship aspect of a pet intuitive. So not every pet intuitive is a medium, just like not every intuitive person out there who does this work can connect with those who passed. So for you, Stacey, you said this is one of the easier things for you to do, is to be able to connect with a pet who's now passed, who's not in physical body anymore. So I wanted us to just do a little experiment, you know, with the cat that I literally didn't even think about him today until we got on the call, and I'm like, I want to know. I'm really curious what happened to him. So so his name was Gomez, and he was a orange and white striped cat. He was male. We got him as a kitten, my now ex-husband and I, just before we had our daughter. And then whenever I got pregnant and had my daughter, I was afraid that Gomez and the other cat were going to jump into her crib and, you know, suffocate her by accident. New mothers, you know, we have all these crazy thoughts in our head of terrible things happening to our baby. So I thought this may not be a good thing for me to keep both of the cats. So I gave both Gomez and the other cat, Nemo, to the nanny that was actually taking care of my daughter. She would come in and take care of her part of the time. And so I'm just wondering, I mean, I know it's been many years, so I know Gomez has passed. And I've always felt really bad about the fact that I had to give Gomez away, because it was like, I loved that cat. And I loved Nemo, his other brother that I brought in a couple of years later. But, you know, I had to make the decision between my human baby and my fur babies at the time. And I was under lots of stress as a new mom. So, you know, I know there was other possibilities, but at the time I needed to do something quick. And so that was the decision I made. So is there anything that you're getting about Gomez, or anything having to do with that situation?
He understood, and his job, his purpose in your life, was a placeholder. He could be your child until your two-legged child got here.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And
Yeah.
he knew that. He knew that going in.
So he knew his purpose.
That was his job.
God, see, that makes me feel so much better. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, his job was to be your baby until your two-legged baby got here.
Yes, and he very much was. He's a bit spoiled. Definitely he was hilarious. He would actually, if we weren't paying attention to him, he would jump on the mantle, and he would just look at us and with his paw start knocking stuff off the mantle.
Oh, jeez. Talk about getting your attention.
Yes, exactly. So he was a bit naughty that way. So yeah, okay, well that's good, because
he had a good life.
Yes, he did. He and his brother we gave him a very good, nice life for sure.
Well, I'm saying after he went to his new home, he had a good life too.
Oh, good. Well, you know, I think the nanny said, so both Gomez and Nemo were only inside cats. So I think she let them go outside. And so all of a sudden, oh my God, he got to probably be out in nature in ways that he was never able to. So I don't know how well he did, since he kind of grew up indoors the whole time he was with us. But yeah, I can see where he probably would have enjoyed the outdoor time.
Cats adapt very well to going from inside to in and out.
Yeah.
We had one that came to us, Mickey, when my daughter was 3 years old. And this kitten, like this teeny tiny little fur ball, was following this little girl going door to door trying to sell something. And it's like, is that your cat? No. Where did it come from? I don't know. How long has it been following you? Oh, long time.
Oh my God.
And any cat that wants to come in, where I had 2 big golden retrievers and 2 little bitty kids, like 1 and 3.
Yeah.
And the cat wanted to come in the door. It's like, oh my gosh, that cat could stay. So then the kid's dad got home at 5 o'clock, and It's like, Daddy, please, Daddy, please, 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 Daddy, please. He didn't even know what she was talking about. Daddy, please. It's like, okay, the cat can stay.
Oh, how sweet.
And we had that cat.
Our pets pick us, just like our children pick us as parents. Pets pick us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like we do, but no, I remember when my daughter and I were, there was a rescue thing and my daughter's like, Mom, can we just go look at the animals? I said, okay, but look, deal, we're not bringing any animal home. She's like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, it's so funny because I was outside, she was inside looking at some of the animals in their little respective cages, and she comes outside and I could see the look in her eyes. Mom, you need to see this cat. I'm like, oh boy. I at that point. But I know that cat picked her.
Yeah.
I think she picked the cat, but oh no, Aster picked us and wanted to go home with Asha. And so it was really interesting because I really do feel that even though we think we pick our pets, no, they choose. They do. And it's really beautiful to know that. And this is why it's so important that we really treat our animals with lots of respect and love and kindness because they have emotions. They don't have the higher level thinking skills, the logical skills that we as humans have. They have very powerful instinctual skills that keep them alive. And that's why they're so smart because they really tune into the instincts. And of course, they do learn from us as humans. But they have a very rich emotional life, probably as in depth as us as humans.
We learn a lot from the animals.
Oh yeah, a lot of humans, even pet owners, don't realize that animals have a very rich emotional life. They feel. They can feel sadness, they can feel depression and grief and loss, they can feel joy and exultation and excitement. They have an all the range in between. So I think that a lot of people think they can treat their pet or ignore their pet or whatever in whatever way because it's just an animal. No, they have well developed emotional life. And so it's important that we be cognizant of that because many times we don't even realize it, but we're emotionally abusing sometimes our pets. Now, granted, sometimes that may be the purpose of the pet in the home so that the parent doesn't emotionally abuse the children. So then the parent will emotionally abuse the animal instead so that the children, aren't harmed by that. So I know I've heard of that before. It's like, again, that's part of that animal's purpose for being in the family is in order to really protect the children from the abusive parent. So the parent abuses the animal over the actual human children. So I can see the purpose of that, but it's just important for us to just come into cognition and awareness that, wow, our animals have a huge emotional life and they feel, they know when we're not feeling well. Like any time that, my daughter's having, an emotional moment and I'm there with her, Aster will come and jump in the bed with us. There is part of the family to kind of support. Sparkle was the same way. Anytime me or my daughter were crying or together crying, she would just come right in the middle of us, be there as our comforter, it was just amazing. It's like she always knew. It's like I noticed that when I'm more in an emotional place, the cat seems to be closer to me.
Yeah.
Than when I'm.
Dogs do the same.
Yeah.
And horses would if we let them in our houses.
Right, exactly.
But yeah. I mean, where do you go? I can't tell you how many bazillion kids go out in the barn and tell their tale of woe to their horses,
Yeah, or their dogs or whoever. That's why I think pets can be so healing for children, especially children that are in not very, nurturing or loving homes for whatever reason. An animal can really be an amazing coping mechanism and support for children when they're not getting that unconditional love and support in the family system. And I'm sure there's tons of stories from people about, how when they were young, this was the pet that they told, like you said, all of their stories to. And this is even true of adults. So you've probably heard of the research that, when you give an older person who's maybe lost their spouse, whoever, and they live alone, you give them a pet, they live longer and
Yep.
health improves, because they have that companion, that person to talk to. Even, adults can get incredible benefits from having the emotional support of an animal, especially if they're alone or living alone. Having that animal's, presence is actually quite healing. So they do a beautiful job of helping us as humans walk our human journey, because the human journey isn't always easy. So they're here as beautiful, I feel, spiritual support for us, emotional support for us, psychological support for us, physical support for us in all those areas, because that's part of their purpose. It's like, okay, so I'm here to support this beautiful human, which tells us how special we are, that even the animal kingdom is here to support us and serve us. Even the nature kingdom, the crystal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, it's all here to support us as divine beings.
Yeah.
We're all here in service to you, the human created being who is in the image of God. Wow, that is a huge gift Creator has given us. Like, we have all this support all around us from, other sentient energy, including plants and animals and, pets, etc. So
It reminds me, more than 30 years ago, I was interested in buying this one particular mare, and whoever had the horse is like, well, I got to tell you about this horse. She smokes cigarettes and drinks wine. It's like, excuse me? Well, apparently the husband and wife are getting divorced, and the husband went out in the barn and smoked cigarettes and blew the smoke into the horse's nose and shared his wine with the horse. So that was his drinking buddy.
oh my God, that's hilarious.
And it's like, it totally makes sense, He needs something not to, and he can just go out in the barn.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. I didn't realize that horses would even like smoke or wine, but whatever.
Well, that one did, because that was the thing they did together, Horse got extra attention. And
Yes, exactly. It was a way to show love. Oh my God. Support his owner, his buddy. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, is there any...
your cat Sparkle was the first animal that had passed that I talked to.
Oh,
and
that's right. Yeah.
and you just sprung that on me, and it's like, say what? But it went really well, and it cracked me up. I mean, I totally got Sparkle's personality,
Yes,
and to this day, I'll tell somebody about the cat going,
yes. Yes. She always thought she was a princess. Even though she was 9 years old, people thought she was 3 or 4 because she was a tiny cat. She always thought she was the princess, and that she had this very youthful, young, like, I'm still a kitten kind of personality to her. And yeah, absolutely. We called her Sparkle for a reason. Oh, actually, my daughter, the minute she saw her, called her Sparkle, and my daughter was 3. So she probably just saw her sparkling energy. and she is very because she would play hide and seek. She would play hide and seek with me and sometimes with my daughter. And she just thought that was so much fun. But she had this kind of princess little giggly thing, energy in her.
Yeah, and I just totally got that she loved to jump out of nowhere and scare you into bed.
Yes, and she would do that, and it would scare me. Sometimes we would scare each other. It was really funny.
And that's part of it too. Our animals. I mean, think about it. How entertaining our animals are.
Mm-hmm.
Just wildly entertaining.
Oh my God! Absolutely, absolutely. Well, is there any last wisdom you want to share with pet owners, or some kind of a simple little intuitive tool you want to share with anybody who will be listening to this replay later, that you feel might assist them as a conscious pet owner?
I just pay attention. Pay attention to the animals and what's going on with them, because it might be your stuff, and just talk to them. What? Sorry.
Yeah.
I got a call from a client.
So talking to them, and also
you
can also tune in because our animals are always trying to talk to us.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm happy to offer people a session.
Right.
And so, like the first session, first question or so, no charge. And then, if they want to go on further, then we can discuss that.
Right. So one question, so I'm going to put this in the chat for people. So session, one question, complimentary, and then if they want to book a full session, they can call you. So what is the number that they should call you at? And I'll put it into the chat.
512
Uh-huh.
667
Okay.
0406.
0406. Great. And that's how they can get a hold of you. I'm going to put this in the chat so when people watch it, it's right there. So 512-667-0406.
Yes.
And one question is complimentary, and then if they want a full session or they have other questions about the animal, then y'all can set up and book
a session.
Excellent. And then they can get a hold of you by giving you a call or texting you, and then y'all can set it up. And so you usually do your sessions. Do you do phone or do you do Zoom? How do you do your sessions?
Sometimes phone, and sometimes I just get the information via email, and then I'll do it and then email. Because I've been channeling for, I don't know, more than 25 years.
Yes.
And so I still kind of go to that sometimes. And so there's a complete transcription of my session with the animal.
Right, exactly.
And then the person can read the whole conversation.
So then they can kind of request how they want. So if they are going to just do a complimentary one question session, it might be good for them to just email you.
Yeah.
Question, and then you email back the answer you're getting.
Yes.
So what would be the email you want them to use if they want to email you?
Give me just a second. I've got to double check it here.
Because I think you have one for your intuitive business, right?
I do, and I want to just double check it to make sure. Okay. No.
Stacey at.
Okay. Stacey Powers.
Uh-huh.
Stacey, and then Powers.
Uh-huh.
Intuitive@gmail.
Well, intuitive@gmail. Okay, I think I typed that right. Stacey Powers, animalintuitive@gmail.com. Okay, so then they can just maybe even text you and say, hey, I sent you an email with a question that I have about my animal. And then once you've emailed them the answer, if they want to have a full session with you, then you can just, in the email, give them the information about how to do that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yay. Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for sharing
your for having me.
Concerning animals. I mean, a lot of beautiful information came through that I know will help anyone who is a pet owner and maybe bring some awarenesses to you as a pet owner about what may be going on with your animal as far as their behavior. Sometimes it's a reflection of you, or it's its purpose to, take on an illness in order that you don't have to, or that it won't be as severe for you. They're also here to uplift us, to bring us unconditional love. And of course, every animal is a medicine for us. So we want to honor them, be reverent, treat them with love and respect and kindness. And if they are our domestic animal, really treat them with lots of respect. And then, of course, understanding that there are animals out there, as we spoke earlier, whose purpose right now is to feed us. And they know that. But what does need to change is that we need to be more in higher respect and honor of those animals and how that they are treated, raised, etc., and then processed, so to speak, in a way that's truly honoring of them and the purpose that they're here for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to send a blessing to all of the beautiful animals in the world, all of our pets, and all of those non-pet animals in the world, and especially any animals in the world right now who are being hunted or poached illegally, any animals that are in the process of, that are on the endangered list. I just want to send lots of love to all of the animals in the world. So with everybody's heart, sending light out into the world to all of those animals right now who are being mistreated, poached, hunted illegally for, greed and for wrong reasons that are not conscious, for the ways that animals are not being treated consciously and kindly in the world, for those particular endangered species, sending them so much love, letting them know that there are so many humans in the world that love them and that want to see their species survive because they are a very important medicine for the earth. So sending love out to all of our beautiful animals in the world, our bird feather friends, our beautiful water friends in the ocean and the rivers. So not just the fish, but all forms of sea life, ocean life, river life. And to all of the insects. Some people don't have a liking with insects, but they're a very important part of our ecosystem. So sending love to the bees. Literally, without our bees, we would cease to exist. That's how important they are. Our ants, even though they can be very irritating for us Texans, they have a very important role to play. Mosquitoes, same thing. All of the particular animal and insect life that has been created by divine has a divine reason for existing. And for us to want to destroy it out of our own ignorance only harms us. So we just ask that we move into more consciousness about how we treat our non-human beings, sentient beings on the planet, and that we understand that it is through us having this mutual understanding and love with the animals that we can all truly live, as it says in the Bible, where the lions will sleep with the lambs. I know that that has a very metaphorical meaning, but also on some level, there is a literal meaning there, that we can all live in peace with each other. We don't have to see any kind of animal as our enemy. So with that, I'm going to seal everything in love and light, saying thank you to all the beautiful domestic animals in our life that have been in our life, those who have passed, blessing them on the other side with lots of light and love for all that they did and carried for us, and blessing all the animals in our life right now and all the animals of the world with so much love, telling them thank you for the medicine that they bring. And with that, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. And thank you, Stacey, for sharing your animal medicine gift with us. And I hope those who watch this replay will get a hold of her and try her out. Like I said, she is amazing with animals, especially horses. I think in some ways she's a great horse whisperer. But she has brought to me and to some of my clients some important information that they needed to know about their pets, cats, dogs, birds, etc. So anyway, thank you, Stacey. I hope everyone has a beautiful day today and that you enjoyed this replay. And if you need to get a hold of Stacey, I highly recommend her for any of your specific pet needs, and especially if you're still suffering from the loss of a pet. I feel that Stacey can bring to you some heart healing around that situation. So anyway, thank you, Stacey.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.